Thanks. At first, I want to say I really appreciate everybody coming out and helping us celebrate the passing of my father, Terrence's father as well. And it really is a celebration. It's not something to be sad in. He moved to a better place in his life. A few words. I kind of struggled putting these words down on paper or maybe iPad, because I see my father through my narrow myopic lens. So how can I articulate and capture him fully through your lenses? So I say I struggle, for I will probably fail many of you as I read these words. In the opening line of The Tale of Two Cities, it reads, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." Vincent Iverson Jones was born into the cradle of Harlem's Renaissance, which echoed such similarities. It was a winter of despair, it was a spring of hope. Vincent, like many, was thrust onto this world with no advantages and most of the disadvantages. A fatherless Negro baby boy amongst the cauldron of societal and family struggles, no father to mention. I mean, I never knew Grandpa, did you, Terry? Born in New Jersey, his mother, Hazel, and him made their way to New York City. I never met Grandma, but I know that she traveled to Cuba. She purchased a home in Harlem. She ran a brothel-like establishment and loved her son in her unique way. She was also said to be beautiful, a beautiful woman, as her son was handsome. And World War I had just ended, and though we Negroes fought and achieved honor on many battlefields, if you guys can think of Division 93 or Eugene Blatchard, when Negroes returned home, the struggle continued. But when the call came again in World War II, Vincent also answered. He joined the U.S. Navy as a CB. So for those of you who don't know what CB is, that means in one hand, he's building the runways and building structures. In the other hand, he has his rifle shooting off the enemy. But he made it through. And he had some stories along the way. One of them that he shared was stealing a Jeep on Guam and chasing down some beautiful woman. I think you guys can all resonate with that. And he actually got put into the brig or military jail for a while. But that said, he earned 3 medals for his travails during those years. And then he returned to Harlem. He joined the post office as a clerk, and through the 20 or 30 years, he rose to be a senior manager in charge of the maintenance operations in Manhattan's largest post office. And I know that he honored his people, because I learned leadership from him in that way, and he treated them well. To this day, people he worked with speak with his name in reverence. This all despite, or maybe because, he had no formal education. But he was a voracious reader. He loved to debate, as my cousin said, and he had friends that he counted as engineers, civil rights activists, attorneys, business owners, Alvin Ailey dancers. Man, it was a time of great struggle to be black, and it was a time of great promise for achievement. Now, he was not a perfect man, who among us is, but he made his way in a world against the era of black struggle, discrimination. It was a time of Marvin Gaye and Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, and Nina Simone. The beat of Motown blending in civil rights and the explosive years of revolution that covered the 1960s. For those of you who cannot remember, think of 1968 riots, the Vietnam War, assassination of Dr. King. A memory that moralizes his love for me was when I was living in Nashville, Tennessee, and around the age of 10 or 11, for my birthday, he sent me an overnight letter and gift. Now you gotta think back then, overnight letter and gift. There was no FedEx, there was no DHL, and I received it on a Sunday. Or maybe the love was shared when Dad, Terrence, and I traveled to Jamaica together on a couple of occasions. And we had our own versions of Hangover 1 and Hangover 2. However, those are confidential files and only will be opened upon Terry or my passing.
They could always come to me and I'll.
I remember those events recognizing that he was actually the third wheel that influenced us. But let me be clear, it was our mothers, Mrs. Jones, and my mother, who were the rocks and foundations at the wings beneath our feet. Right, Terry?
That's right.
Amen. And as the ebb of time moved forward, after retirement, he moved to that stage, Arlette, of caregiver. It seemed he was really on a mission, visiting friends, taking others to hospitals, going to funerals, and talking on the phone many times to people that he knew around the country and around the world. He even drove down to Florida one time right after 9/11 to watch me run when I was about 15 pounds lighter, a mini triathlon, and help me remodel my home after my horrific divorce. He immersed himself in this role as if he was trying to play it forward. So let me end by saying this. This is not a sad biographical or social political essay on the life of Vincent Jones, but this is me leaning on memory of my father, celebrating his life and journey, and as Nikki Giovanni proclaims, those who ride the night winds like Vincent are day trippers, are midnight cowboys.